Hi, this is Lucy Tubbs.
And this is Elizabeth Holmes. Welcome to The War, which is the Pennant's podcast.
On today's episode, we will be talking about behind the scenes of Cedars and Pennant, and also the difference between those two.
Later, we'll be joined by Jordan Windhorst, Emma Kafka, and Becca Douglas to talk about Pennant, and then we'll also be joined by Grace Duerksen to talk about Cedars.
What's up? Welcome back to the joke of the day.
I'm Hallie.
And I'm Garrett.
Which newspaper did cavemen read?
I don't know.
The Prehistoric Times.
Why do news reporters hang out at the ice cream shop?
I have no idea.
Because they're always looking for a scoop.
And this has been the joke of the day.
Hey, this is Lucy and Liz, and we are here with Grace Duerksen today, and she is here to talk about yearbook with you guys.
Thanks for having me, guys.
No problem.
All right, so I'll start off with my job description in yearbook. I'm editor-in-chief, so usually how a normal day goes is we introduce class, we help answer questions and stuff, but outside of class, we're working on yearbook usually a couple hours outside of school, so it's a lot of work, take a lot of photos, stuff like that. There's a bunch of different positions in the yearbook. You can do sports editor, organizations editor, so if you like sports, if you're in a bunch of clubs, there's stuff for you to do. What else is there? There's a senior editor. We always have a senior on the senior editor for stuff like senior dinner parties, stuff like that, senior camp out, so yeah.
So what's the difference between the seniors and the juniors involved?
So the seniors we call the editors. They're the people who actually make the yearbook pages, and the juniors are the reporters. So the editors will assign the reporters assignments. They'll go out, get the information, take photos, stuff like that.
So did you start off in yearbook as a junior?
Yeah.
So what was it like the first time that you went in? Because obviously you didn't really know what you were getting yourself into fully. So what was it like to sign up and then be chosen and then go into your first day?
Well, Delynn Harmon, she recruited me. She kind of forced me to do it, and I'm really glad she did. Being a reporter is kind of an easy job. I prefer being a reporter over an editor because I like to get to know people, get to meet people, take photos. But it was just exciting and fun to go out and do stuff.
So what's your least favorite part of yearbook?
My least favorite part of yearbook is meeting deadlines. It's really difficult. Sometimes you just have to stay up late, you have to stay after school to get things done, but it's really worth it when you're passionate about it.
So by deadlines, what do you mean? I know deadlines mean something very specific for Pennant, but is it different for yearbook and what goes into meeting a deadline?
Yeah, so our plant in Jostens, they actually print the book. We have to send about 50 pages each month, and they actually print those pages and set them aside for each deadline, and so at our final deadline, they glue them all together, and it's done, so.
So what about if a junior this year, a senior next year, wanted to become in yearbook? Would they start off I know for Pennant they start off as a reporter, and then maybe the next semester they'll be an editor. Is it the same for you guys?
Yeah, that's how it is. You can get your feel of both sides.
Sounds nice.
Yeah, it's fun.
So what's your favorite part of yearbook?
My favorite part of yearbook would actually be designing the pages. Putting all the information is a little difficult because you get it at different times, but actually initially designing the pages is my favorite part. So
why did you choose doing yearbook over doing Pennant?
Well, because of Delynn, like I said earlier, they needed some people. I don't know how, but she just knew it would be a right fit for me. So I don't know. I like designing over writing, I think. So I think I made a good choice.
That's good. What do you think the biggest difference between Pennant and yearbook is? I feel we know the difference, but for anyone who doesn't really know the difference, what's the biggest thing that is the dichotomy between yearbook and Pennant?
I think from my experience, I don't have much experience in Pennant, but I've heard things. I think yearbook is a lot more of outside of school work. I usually go to a couple events a week taking photos and stuff and getting interviews and talking to people. I know that you guys do that too for Pennant, but I just think it's a lot more fast-paced, I guess, because you're always on your feet, you have to meet the deadlines or else something's going to go wrong. You might have to pay a fine or something. It's
so
just
if
great.
You don't meet your deadline, what happens?
Usually we get fined. Lebanon High School usually meets all of their deadlines, so just recently we've had a little rocky path, I guess you could say, but we just try to, work 10 times harder. So just to make sure it gets done as quick as possible.
And what I understand from like other people that are in your book, you guys have workshops too. So like on, I think it's like Sundays or like some days after school before deadlines, you guys come in and you guys will like bring food and stuff and you guys work on the
A week
book.
before deadline, we usually have an after school from 3 to 5 where we all just get together, get some snacks and stuff, play music. And we just work on yearbook after school. It's a good way to just get everyone in a more laid back setting and just work on it, and no one's really stressed out on those days. It's just kind of relaxed. But yeah.
So, thinking of yourself like as a sophomore going into being like a yearbook reporter junior year, what is like one thing you would tell yourself about yearbook that you didn't know going into it and that you didn't expect going into it?
The stress is gonna pay off. It's definitely stressful sometimes, since sometimes the reporters get a lot of assignments and it doesn't seem like you can get it all done, but you really can. And it's such a good feeling when the book comes out and you see, you're like, oh my gosh, I got that picture, I got that interview, I talked to that person. You're like, that's my work. It's just, it's really exciting when the book comes out to see like you're part of it. So
That's good. That's cool. Lucy, do you have any more questions?
No.
Do you have anything else that you want to like say or talk about with yearbook?
Yearbook, being in yearbook has made me realize what I want to do with like my career. So I'm actually majoring in journalism next year in college. So it just kind of opened my eyes. I formed relationships that I'm going to have forever. And it teaches you how to cope with stress and have a finished product, something that other people can have that you made. It's a really good feeling overall. So
Thank you for being with us.
thank you for having me.
I'm Lucy.
Hi, I'm Elizabeth.
And I am the editor-in-chief, health and beauty editor, and editorial editor.
And I'm a reporter.
And we also have here 3 of the other senior editors for the Pennant. But first, Liz is going to talk about what it's like to be a reporter, a junior reporter.
Yeah. So the way that it works in Pennant is juniors are reporters and seniors are editors, unless you come in late, but we'll talk about that later. My goodness. And so reporters are assigned stories and editors, she can explain that. Reporters are assigned stories and we go out and we interview people and we talk to people and then we write our own stories. Editors also write stories, but reporters don't get to choose their stories until later on when you can request stories, probably about halfway through the year.
Or 1/4.
Yeah, and as a reporter, you learn how to write stories. You learn all the things that you need to avoid, and then also all the things that you need to include, and then you do a lot of interviewing.
And you also do a whole variety of stories too.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. So when you're a reporter, you get assigned stories from different categories from all the editors. So you'll get assigned an editorial one week, and then you'll get assigned arts and entertainment the next week. So you can decide. So you can figure out what stories you like writing the best.
Yeah. And then editors, they also, like she said, we also write stories. It's not like we're just not doing anything. But for me, I have editor-in-chief is more of just a leadership position. But this year I feel like all the seniors are editors-in-chief because we all just team up together to do it. But mainly just the editor-in-chief position. We run the class if the teacher's not there, but it really is a student-based led class. But we run the class, we write down scheduling of what we're gonna do, figure out the deadlines for each story or round that we're gonna do, and then pretty much they come to us if there's any problems. But mainly we just kind of just have the name, I would say, everyone especially this year, I feel all 4 of us, we all figure out what we're gonna do. I think Emma can agree with that one too.
For sure.
But for health and beauty, health and beauty is just practically what it says. It's more of just anything that has to do with health, or even just the simplest things of something about coffee, or it could be anything in beauty. It could be fashion, makeup tutorials, dresses. It could be skincare routines. It can be anywhere. It's just practically what it says. Editorial is probably, it's a really small based one, but it's probably one of the toughest because it's more of opinion based stuff. And with editorial, you have to be able to when you assign it, you have to be able to sure that you get the right. It's opinion based, so you have to make sure you get the right and like definitely school appropriate opinion.
You can't
on
be
stuff.
biased when you rate it, either,
Yeah.
which is difficult.
So if you get that story, you can't have your own aspect of it, because when you're editing it and you see something you don't like, you can't just be like, I don't want to write, like, I don't want to keep that in there, because you need to include every single opinion that you have in that story. And you have to get a wide range of opinions. So if you have like a story that you're really opinionated about and you get someone else's, like, you need to make sure you have that side and maybe your side, but you cannot write your own side within it. And that's all my positions. Do you want to start, Jordan?
Yeah, so I'm Jordan, and I'm the feature editor for the Pennant. I only have one position out of all the editors because the feature category is kind of like one of the biggest categories because like mostly any story could be a feature story. So for feature, we mostly write about like if there's a specific like student or a teacher or something that happens in our community, it would be a feature story over the event that's happening or a certain person that's doing something like unique or just like something big that like needs to be talked about.
All right, and then I'm Emma, and I am the co-editor-in-chief with Lucy, and I'm also in charge of the news category and arts and entertainment. So I'll start with news. Lucy mentioned editorial, which is really opinion-based. Well, news is the opposite. You've got to be completely objective, basically no opinions. It's very just fact-based. And politics come in a lot, natural disasters come in a lot. At Lebanon, we try to localize the stories, so we make it more about us. We bring in the students, we bring in how it affects us, as opposed to just writing a story that you could find on CNN or Fox or anything like that. So, and then arts and entertainment is my personal favorite category because you get to cover so many cool just areas like plays and like show choir, tigerettes, stuff like that. So with arts and entertainment, you get very passionate people. It makes for great interviews, great pictures, everything like that. So yeah. And it can also be like music or like an album coming out or dropping. And then like with news, how this year we've really tried like saying with that news, we have like all around the world news, but it affects us. And we also have like school news too. We like putting our school news under Emma's category too. Yes, which that's really fun to do because you can just get a bunch of interviews from different people and really just get that information. You can go to the Pennant for that information. So yeah.
I'm Becca. I'm the sports and photography editor. And so photography is a really small category. It's basically like if anybody needs help getting pictures, then I can go do that. I'm basically in charge of the cameras in the Pennant room, and like if somebody needs to cover a story at like a football game, then or like some other event, because I'm also a cheerleader, so I can't do that. But I would like bring my camera to events and stuff, and or like the Pennant cameras, and I would take pictures for them and all that kind of stuff. And then for the sports editor, that is also another huge category for the Pennant. I cover all fall, winter, and spring sports as they're occurring, like even previews before them, after recaps, like just basically anything sports related, and not even in the school, but like also worldwide. Like I cover like NFL, NCAA, like everything that is happening to like mostly in the US. I'm not gonna go outside the country, but anyways, it's supposed to be mostly Lebanon, but we also include other stories and like student opinions of what's going on, like Super Bowl stuff and all that kind of stuff. So yeah. And the good thing that we like about Pennant is also we always combined our stories. Like we could have a sports story that could be opinionated based, like something could happen in the NFL and they're like, what do you think of this as like a teenager? Because I feel like teenagers have a really big opinion about something because they express what they feel. And they know like they can just say whatever they want. Yeah. So we can combine those two, and you can find it in like sports and editorial. Like you can do that with any category too. So it's not like one story is always just under one. Like it might be under it, but it's not. Like say we would do a story over like the musical, that would be considered arts and entertainment and feature as well because it's like featuring the musical.
Yep, and not only that, but when you become an editor, you have full privileges to choose the stories that you want. So if you find a story that you like, you can chase that down, do it as well as you possibly can, and that's why I really like choosing my own story. Having that privilege now is because I can do the stories that I'm really passionate about. So
You're not limited to whatever you're an editor of. You could do, like, even though I'm a sports editor, I could go write a feature story for Jordan. We could do whatever we want, and we could share, like, the roles.
And next year, we will have a podcast editor. And we also have, like, a social media type editor, but we also, like, everyone is part of our social media on there. All editors are. And that's probably that for positions. And then how to get involved. Do you want to start how?
Sure.
How?
So to get involved in Pennant, you turn in an application to Mrs. Cavs or any member of Pennant, and you fill it out, and you talk about why you want to be in Pennant, how you, like, heard about it, and then you write, like, a sample story that's, like, a paragraph long. It's not long at all, and it's really, really easy. And you turn it in, and then, like, all the current editors will talk about it the new editors, the juniors that are going to be seniors, talk about it, and then they decide whether or not they want you in. And just because you turn in an application doesn't guarantee a spot in it, but you have to turn in an application if you're interested in it, so.
And since this, like, both yearbook and Pennant are both AP art credits, you actually have to, like, have good grades and, like, be willing to actually participate in the class. You can't just sign up for a class thinking this is just a blow-off class, because there's actually a lot of work behind it.
Yeah.
But we give you plenty of work time, like, during the day at school, so it's easily done, and you don't have a lot of homework if your work ethic is good enough.
you just got to apply yourself. I mean, if you're passionate about writing and I guess interviewing people, which is a huge part of this, then you'll have no problem thriving in this area. It's really fun when you just
It is.
put your mind
It's
to
super
it.
fun.
And taking this class too doesn't necessarily mean you have to be the best writer out there. I know when I first took this class, I wasn't the best writer out of everyone, but as, like, the years have gone on, I've progressively, like, improved my writing based from this class.
You learn as you go on,
Yeah.
especially because the editors will teach you everything in the beginning. And, like, I wasn't a good writer either. I didn't even like writing, and I signed up for this class. I don't know why I did. I was just like, okay, YOLO moment. And I turned out to really like it. Like, I love this class now. It's one of my favorites.
YOLO moment.
And then same for if you are a junior in, like, this year and you are like, oh gosh, I didn't do it my junior year, you can do it your senior year.
Yeah.
There's just, when you do it your senior year, just one semester you'll be a reporter because they need you to have that reporter experience, but then the second semester you'll become an editor, depending on how well you put yourself in it. But if you don't want to be an editor and you, like, don't work hard and do that stuff, then you probably will not become an editor if you don't work as hard as it. And then we also have, like we said, they mentioned it. It is also, everyone thinks that Pennant is just about writing, and it is not just writing. There's so much stuff that you can do in the Pennant. There's a lot of leadership roles. There's a lot of, we do videos, we do podcasts, we do, there's just so much. You don't have to be, like they said, the best writer. They will teach you, they took the first 2 weeks of the school year and they teach how to write. It's not just writing. You can do anything you want to do. I mean, obviously, especially as a reporter, you're gonna have a lot of writing stories, and as an editor, you're gonna have writing stories. You're not just never gonna have writing stories. But
it's not like an overwhelming amount of writing.
but you still, it's like, and it's not like everyone thinks when they think of writing, they think of essays. It's not an essay. You're not writing 4 pages. Like 2 pages is a lot for a story.
Yeah.
Like 2 pages is too much.
Short.
Yeah, and so that's what we were saying, like, and it's a whole different type of writing. It is like, a paragraph is not 5 sentences long. Like, that looks bad for that stuff. It's more of like 3 sentences or 2 for, like, each, like
a paragraph could even be like 1 sentence.
Yeah, and then also they have that. I lost my train of thought. But it's not a lot of writing. That's pretty much what I have to say about that. And then we have podcasts. We have videos. We do a lot of videos. Like last year, we were focusing on videos and making those big in the Pennant. And then this year, we like have all videos doing now. And now we're like podcast. So that's what we were. And there's a lot of like pictures. You can take pictures. You can do photo galleries. Totally forgot about that. We do like photo galleries from like prom. Because you can't really like talk to everybody about their prom experience, but you want to get like a lot of pictures to put everyone from the school in the Pennant. And you want to get everyone involved too from the school too, because it makes them feel better about themselves when they're involved.
Maybe don't say that.
No, like
when you like involve everyone in the school, it like.
But if you involve just your friends, everyone's be like, well, I've never, like, some people don't even know because sometimes people don't get interviewed. But we're not saying that, like, just because we don't interview doesn't mean we don't know about that. It's just harder to get everyone in the school.
Yeah.
But a lot of people don't even know about the Pennant. Like, they don't know that we're a newspaper.
But if you involve everyone, then, like, everyone will know about it. And, like, plus it's just nice to, like, involve everyone, like, in it. Because it is, like, about our school.
Yes.
So everyone should be, like, part of it.
And a lot of people, once they see what we do, they like it a lot more. And they like how it is.
Mm-hmm. Do you want to talk about how we got involved?
Yeah.
And then likes and dislikes.
Yeah, well, I was gonna say because I never thought I'd ever be in Pennant. Kaz asked me every single day. I, like, the whole second semester of my sophomore year, she asked me, and I'd tell her no. And I was like, I don't want to do it. I don't even think I have room in my schedule. And one day they pulled me out of class and sat me down and practically said, they're like, we need you to be in Pennant. I was like, okay. I hated writing. I didn't think I was good at it. Didn't think anything of it. And now
You're editor-in-chief.
Yeah. And now I'm editor-in-chief, and I love it. And I was like, even my junior year, I was like, I don't think I could, like, I don't even know what position I want to be. And then I was like, at one point I was like, I kind of want to be editor-in-chief. And then here I am, and I didn't want to do it. And I love it. And it's such a family-based thing. Like, everyone doesn't understand, like, you will meet some of the people you'd never think you'd be friends with in this class. And you will become so close, almost like family with them. And you will, like, you will probably have friendship for the rest of your life because this class is such, like, you have to work as a team. Like, you can't just be like, I want to, like, you do it yourself, but you have to be able to ask for help, too, sometimes. And if you think it's all about yourself, then you're not going to be able to get stuff done. And if you don't have, like, the open mindset, like, when we peer edit, like, you're not going to be able to do it.
It's really cool that it's like more family based and it's like small because sometimes we'll have like parties to celebrate like deadlines or like breaks and stuff that are upcoming, and it's like our last party we were all just sitting around a table like playing games and it was really fun.
It was probably like it was a really fun day. I always remember that day. But we also have like and we also, like she said, we have parties. That's like one of the really good big likes that everyone likes. Like everyone likes how we have like parties and we bring in food and we eat. But we also have, like, it's a lot. The thing that I didn't like at first, but then, like, now it actually helped me better, is I learned how to do time management. And time management was huge, and it's helped me a lot, especially with, like, just regular schooling.
Yeah, I didn't think I was going to do Pennant either. And then Emma and Lucy tracked me down, and Liz Mars also tracked me down, and they were all like, you're doing Pennant. And I was like, I'm doing Pennant. And I'm so glad that I did Pennant because it's by far one of my favorite classes that I've done. And there's not anything that I really dislike about it. I mean, like, sometimes I get stressed out because of time management. And I get stressed out because of time management, and it's like, and I'm such a busy person that, like, I have to meet deadlines and stuff. But they're also very forgiving. Like, if I don't meet a deadline, they're not going to be, like, angry at me, which is really nice. So, but, like, obviously you should still meet your deadlines. But I'm so happy that I did Pennant, and it's a great experience to do it, even if you don't like writing. Like, it's still really fun.
And it's really good for, like, it will help you out in life. It teaches you so much stuff, and it also, like...
It looks great on college
applications.
Yeah, that's
what I was saying.
In interviews, it teaches you how to
talk to
people.
Like communicate with people.
Talk to people that you've never talked to before. It gets you out of your zone.
And it helps you with, like, job interviews, because, like, you know what the person is looking for, like good quotes and that kind of stuff, and then you can provide that whenever you're being interviewed for something more serious in the future.
And it is really true that anybody can do Pennant. Like, I'm super shy. Like, I consider myself really shy, and Pennant was a way that, like, I was able to come out of my shell. It really gave me a lot of skills. So, all right, guys, thank you for tuning into this special episode of The Roar. I'm Emma Kafka.
And I'm Elizabeth Holmes.
And we're going to go right into our sponsorships. So, do you guys have snow in your backyard? My guess is you do. Our winter hasn't been that bad, but, you know, if you need snow removal, Hackett Lawn Care has got you. So Christian Hackett, he's a student here. He holds a lawn care business with all types of lawn care stuff, landscaping and all that. So the number is 317-519-8481, and you can go to them for all of your lawn care needs.
We would also like to give a very special thanks to Scott and Marianne Bridge for making this podcast possible with their donation. Tune in next Friday for the next episode of